It is September 2nd. September 2nd. It is day 2 of 1 was what I committed to. Anyway, this is day 2. Day 2 of September and day 2 of daily vlogs in a row for me. So I came out to this other park here because I anticipated that this creek here, creek, I don't know. Anyway, I anticipated it would be a lot more full than this, especially with all the rain I had. By the way, let me get this out of the way. Well, let me get a couple things out of the way here. Number one is I am on the Action 5 Pro. It's the only camera I brought today. I'm taking a few people's advice and trying to keep it simple using the KISS method, and till I get a few more vlogs under my belt. So yeah, let's just do that. Now, the other thing is I am using the new DJI Mic 3. I've got it attached to the camera and I'm about, I don't know, a foot away from it. Now, yesterday in my vlog on day 1 of 1, I had the 2 mics come in the package I bought, and I had the other one set on strong noise cancellation with the gray, thicker wind muff, dead cat, whatever. No offense to you cat lovers. Sorry, Taylor Swift. Anyway, I didn't name those things, but I had it on the strong noise cancellation setting and the bigger wind muff on it. Today I've got this one set on, I think they call it normal noise cancellation. I don't know. It would be weird if they called it weak. Why would you name one of your products weak? But anyway, I don't have this in low light mode. Maybe I should. I don't know. I think I should have used the strong noise cancellation, because listen to those. What are those? Cicadas? Locusts? People? Whatever those noisy critters are. It's a beautiful park here, though. I'll show you more of it here in a little bit. But right now I'm down here at the creek. I'm down here. I'm doing that intentionally. I'm just saying. And you can see that it's pretty wide, and you can see that this has been filled recently because the ground is still wet. We did have a lot of rain, but you can see spots where it's still wet. A little bit of standing water there. I saw some fish farther back, but there were also some holes in the ground, and I don't know what was living in those holes, so I abandoned that area. The reason I'm standing at this creek, is because, and I'll quit doing that, okay? I came here to tell a story about when I was younger, when I was a minivan. And my dad had a 64 Le Mans convertible, 326 engine. I know everybody's going to say 327. It was a 326, I promise you. It was Pontiac 327. At those years, I don't know. You guys know more about that than I do. Anyway, convertible, and I happen to know that he had a magnetic key holder with the spare key up in the wheel well. I was I don't know, 13 probably. But the temptation was too much. So me and my buddy Kantz decided we were going to cut class that day and go for a ride. And we did. We went for a big old ride. We went 2 towns up, drove out in the country. Keep in mind, I wasn't full height yet. We went on a good old joyride. I mean, other than taking the car without permission, there were that was the bulk of it. But here's what happens when you do that and your dad doesn't know, and he notices the car gone. He drives by and notices the car gone. Dad called the cops. And when I got back to my town, they found me. And they I guess wasn't holding that out far enough. I'm sorry that you had to get a close-up of this unshaven face. Anyway, they found me, and I thought I was going to get away. I made a few evasive maneuvers, but it didn't work. And they pulled me over right in front of the high school. Needless to say, my dad was pissed. I think I maybe had one spanking my entire life. This wasn't it. It was when I was younger, but because I was having a meltdown in a grocery store line. But that's a whole nother story. But anyway, the punishment was to send me to my mother's. They were split up. So he sent me to my mother's to, at least for the summer. Because, I mean, it was a whole big deal. I got pulled down to the police station where they scared the crap out of me. And I had it coming. Anyway, Dad sent me down there. Now, not the worst punishment in the world if that was all there was to it. I lived with my father in the city. My mother had moved back in with her family on the family farm. So, city kid. Oh, let me turn the mic around. I've got the mic facing the wrong way. Okay, this is all learning experience for me. Remember, this is only vlog 2. So, sorry for any noise that happened there. So again, not the worst thing in the world to be sent to your mother's, except for this. Sent this city boy to the country. Now, when I say country, there's a lot of places that are country, and they're not that bad. But when I say country in this instance, remember, this is the 70s, early 70s. My mom's side of the family, they were still living without electric. They were living without, I'm going to see if I can get away from these cicadas a little bit. Probably impossible. But they were hillbillies, man. They literally lived way up on top of a hill of a dirt road. It was an entirely different experience. And now that I think about it, it was longer than the summer. Well, anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, here I am, sent out in the country. No electric, no running water. There was an outhouse. We had what we called walking water. Walk out to the well with a bucket and walk back. Man, I think I'm going to wish I was in low light mode. Too late to change now, though. But I've committed to posting these things up no matter what. So here I am. Actually, the dirt road part was only about a mile. It was 2 miles from town. When I say town, we're not talking town like you and I think of the town. We're talking, I wonder how you're hearing that fountain over there. Are you getting too much of that noise? There's 2 fountains out here on this pond, lake, whatever. There's duckies. DKV would be enjoying this, although I haven't seen a squirrel. And if you haven't seen DKV's video, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Let me get a little farther away because I think you're going to have a hard time hearing that. Honestly, I don't know if this sound will be usable at all. I hope I can post it. The hope is all I got right now. So, we're 11 minutes in. Another time when I vlogged here, I did a 3-camera shoot. Just like all my other vlogs, you've never seen it. And you may never see it unless I do it as a silent vlog and just run the video portion of it and play a little music. But that's what this is all about, trying to get better, right? This is day 2 of 1. Anyway. So here I am way up this dirt road. No electric. No running water. I preferred, instead of just warming up water on the stove and like taking a tub bath and washing down, I preferred to just go jump in the pond. I was a kid, man, you know what I mean? There's more to that part. I'll get back to that. But anyway, so I started to make friends. I found out who had kids my age around there, because everybody knew everybody and where they lived. And I just went down and knocked on the doors. I mean, that's still who I am as a person. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not what anybody would call shy. I do get embarrassed easy, but shy is not my middle name. Anyway, I met these kids. They knew as little as I knew about being a country boy. They knew even less about things like baseball, weed. Anyway, maybe I'll cut that part out. I was a street kid, man. I had very little parenting from my dad. That is a whole nother story too. Boy, this is what I do. This is why I don't post my vlogs, because I'm all over the freaking place. Like, I cannot stay on story at all. So anyway, I met these kids and I was teaching them how to play baseball out in a cow pasture. Literally cows there. They weren't around us at the time, but there was definitely some cow flop out there. Nobody wanted to slide into, second base or anything. So I'm teaching these kids how to play ball. And, they went and bought gloves at the general store. I think I probably had my ball and glove with me. I was pretty good at sports when I was a kid. All the kids in the neighborhood when I was younger, before 10, were 2 years older than me, but they always needed another player, and so I got to play with the big boys, the same boys that would, slap my back when I had a sunburn and hold my head under the snow till I couldn't breathe anymore. and take my bicycle to the top of the hill and let it go on its own. Those same kids always needed another player. Anyway, it made me good, and when I moved to a different part of town, I was the big dog. I digress. I digress a lot, don't I? So I'm teaching these kids how to play ball. Oh, and when I got sent down there, I needed new shoes. I had shoes with holes in them and everything, and you can't do that when you're living in the woods. Out when you're being a hillbilly on a dirt road, you need new shoes. So I went and got, and because it was a small general store, I'm telling you, it was straight out of some of the TV shows you've seen. It was a true general store. I think it was affiliated with True Value, but they didn't have Converse, which was what I was always wearing. I was wearing All-Stars. They didn't have those, so I got something that looked kind of like them. A lot like them, actually. They just weren't Converse. And I got a brand new pair of those, and off I went down to play baseball with my new friends out in the cow pasture, dodging cow flock. It's probably a false memory, but I kind of remember using a cow flop for like home plate. I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. They were country boys. So one of the first things that happened when we were out in the field playing was, boy, this is going to be a long vlog. I can see that already. We're 17 minutes in. One of the things that happened, I may have to edit this. If I do, apologies in advance. My buddy Chad would prefer that I not edit it at all and just put it up. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, where was I? Cow flop. Oh, there was a calf that got stuck in between two strands of barbed wire. And I got a soft spot for critters, you know. Well, this calf was stuck, and I was determined I was going to free it. And that's when I learned one of my first country boy lessons. It wasn't my first country boy lesson. My first country boy lesson was when you go out to the outhouse, make a bunch of noise, get the bees out of there before you sit down. Just saying. Or just take the roll of toilet paper and go out in the woods. That's what I ended up doing more than anything. City kid making do in the country. I mean, because the outhouse literally had boards with knot holes in them, so the bees just come and go. I wrote a song. Well, anyway, that's a whole nother story. I rewrote a song. But lesson number 2 was, when you're trying to free a calf from being caught in a fence, do it from the front of the calf. Don't try to go around and push it from the back. They couldn't warn me fast enough. I went around and that thing kicked me right square in the chest. I mean, how do you like my shirt, by the way? As I'm digressing again. No Huey, no news, no thanks. Anyway, so I wonder, should I put the mic on my shirt? Maybe. Action 5 Pro's got pretty good onboard mic, but it's not as good as this. Now I'm messing things up again. Also, I don't have the magnet with me, so I can't stick it farther down my shirt. Yeah, that's a bad idea. Okay. So hopefully you'll hear me. Anyway, I got kicked square in the chest, knocked my ass down on the ground. The other kids thought that was the funniest thing they'd seen that summer. Anyway, we went back to, they got the calf out, the country boys did, right? Because country boys. My screen just locked. Gosh darn it. Why does it say swipe to unlock and then it won't let you? So, went back to playing ball, and I was a pretty good batter. In fact, I had a trophy for most home runs in City League. But I knocked one over the creek. That's where that creek back there comes in. And that creek was filled with water, and it was pretty wide. About as wide as that one would be if it was filled with water, but it was also deep. And the creek, so in order to get to the other side to retrieve the ball, we would have had to go a good, let me see, at least a half a mile down to where a bridge crossed the creek, and then another half mile back up the creek on the other side to get the ball. Well, why do that when you could just walk across the creek, right? This is Country Boy lesson number 2 coming up here. So off I go, and and it was muddy, and you know, feet getting stuck in the mud and everything. When I emerged on the other side, I didn't have my right sneaker. Excuse me. No right sneaker. Now I am, at this point, depending on if I went back around the bridge or cut back across the creek, I was 1.5 to 2.5 miles from home with one shoe. Remember, the road going up to the homestead was dirt. The road getting out back there was what they called macadam to get to the dirt road, which was tar and chip, most people probably call it. Tar and chip road. Neither one of those things are fun on barefoot when you're a city boy. But we I had a dilemma. Also, way before cell phones, right? Stuff like that. So I proceeded to hoof it home. That's funny, hoof. I just got kicked in the chest by hooves. Hoofs? Hooves? I don't know, whatever. So I made it home, told them my sob story. And they made a phone call on the spinner phone with a spinner thing. If it rang twice, it was for us. If it rang once, it was for up the road. And that is a whole nother story that's about a guy who was a famous explorer. I think he was from Australia, but he bought a home there up on the mountain. He had passed, but I'm just going to call it what it is. No, I don't want to say mean things. It begins with a C and ends in a razy, but anyway. If it rang once, it was for them. She had a caretaker. The explorer's name was Sir Hubert Wilkins. Caretaker's name was Winston Ross, and they had signs all over the yard that said no trespassers or the great god Vishnu would come do bad things to you. Maybe that's why I've had bad luck my whole life. I don't know. I'm getting way off topic here. So one brand new shoe. My other shoes had been thrown away. So they made a phone call down to the general store and asked them if they could send up another pair of shoes with the mail. That's how we did it. When we needed some groceries, this is not even small town. This is rural rural. It was the rural route. That is a hard word to say, Annie Elise. Maybe I'll throw that clip in here. Rural. Anyway, we were on the rural route, and they would just send it up with the mail. Mailman had a Jeep. They could get up the road regardless of the weather. I don't think it was a Jeep. I think it was an International Scout. In fact, it was. It was an International Scout. Anyway, they sent, oh, I see dragonflies, and DKV would appreciate that if I can get a picture of them. 2 of them. I think they're hooked together. Uh-oh. They're making baby dragonflies. How you like that, DKV? I had to one-up you, man. I don't know how close I can get. He talked about that a lot in his vlog yesterday. I don't know if that's 2 of them or just one of them with 4 wings. I don't know. Either way, I hope he has a happy ending. I hope I got that for you, Darren. Damn, it's Darren. I know it's Darren. I do stuff like that. I think I'm going to start walking back towards the car. Nah, I'm going to sit down. It is dark here. I wish I was in low light mode. It is what it is. I can either go closer to the fountain where it'll be louder, or I can... Well, maybe we'll do that. And I can learn about noise cancellation in DaVinci, right? So, where was I? Sneakers, getting sent up with the mail the next day. And they did. And I hung on to that one other brand new sneaker. It didn't have a mate. And went on about my summer. That looks like a good spot with light that's farther away. So now I've got 3 brand new sneakers. 2 lefts and a right. And now the sun just went away from the place I was going. Oh, heck with it. I've stood out in the middle of the field before and talked to y'all. So I went about my summer. Another day I was down with these same boys. Let me see what's good. Sun in front of me or sun behind me? What would Tamara Gabriel tell me to do? I don't know. That looks awful dark. So I was down there with them same boys, and we decided to hoof it to this store that was by road, and I looked it up today. By road, it was 3.2 miles away. Don't know what that is in Canadian. Do the math yourself. Just kidding. I gotta say that every time, and I think about Chris Meets Chris every time I say it. Anyway, off we went to the store. 3.2 miles as by road, and then the creek, of course, winds and everything, so it was more than 3.2 miles the way it went. Also, wait a minute, now that I think about it, well, anyway, let's call it 3.7 miles, and here's why. Which means that the creek may have been 4 miles? I don't know. To where that store is. And as I'm walking across the bridge right at the store, what do you think I noticed off on the what is it? Creek bed? That I'm wearing that joke out. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'll stop. I mean, no, I probably won't, but anyway. What do you think I saw over there on the side? Caught up in branches. It was that other freaking shoe, that other sneaker. My fake Converse. What are the odds? This is months later. Probably at least 2 months later. That sneaker had somehow managed to travel by, I'm going to call it stream. There you go. I fixed the problem. That sneaker had traveled 4 miles by stream. The reason I went from 3.2 to 3.7 because I measured town to town in Google Maps today, and we weren't in town. We were half a mile away from, not even a town. I don't even know what those are called down there, those little, I don't know. They had a post office. They had a tavern, of course. They had another general store, which, by the way, their daughter ended up being my girlfriend for a little bit. And there's a whole nother story there. And it does involve a bear. That's all I'm going to say for now. But they had that, and they had a Grange Hall. I'd never heard of that term before I went down there either. Had a Grange Hall. But that's kind of the whole story. Happy ending, kind of like the dragonfly. Tying it all together. But I mean, I had 2 pairs of sneakers. Granted, one of them was much more faded and dirty than the others. And I would have had to hand wash it or just dunk it in the pond. I'll tell that pond story maybe tomorrow. We're over a half an hour. This is way too long. So yeah, that's my story of joyriding in my dad's car, getting sent out to the woods. Which, by the way, when you're a city kid, every little noise you hear out there in that long, remember it was a good mile up the hill in the dirt road. Every little noise you hear out in the woods when you're in unfamiliar territory, and you're more used to, not more used to, my playground when I was a kid, the place where we played all our sports, it was blacktop. There was no grass. We didn't play tackle on that field. We did play on the grass in the front of the school. Kind of a miniaturized make-do football field. But I was used to blacktop and sidewalk. I was not used to woods, lots of trees, critters, stepping on branches and making snapping noises. I'll tell you what, I got real good at running, both uphill and downhill, when I was down there walking up and down that hill alone, which I had to do once school started. And no, it wasn't uphill both ways, only one way. And I did have shoes, 3 of them, for a while. We were so poor we didn't have feet. Anyway, I think that's the end of my story. I think that's a good place to stop it. You're probably wishing I stopped this about 20 minutes ago. We may do some light editing. But I want to thank everybody who's been so encouraging. I did not intend, in fact, I specifically said out loud to Fun Size Lady, and to everybody that was at the live on Saturday, every other Saturday, by the way, so about 10 or so days from now. I don't know, this is September 2nd. The last one was Saturday, today's Monday. So the last one must have been on the 31st? I don't know. That's Canadian math. But a Saturday and a half from now. I'm so goofy. that's when the next one will be. I'd like to see you there. We have a good bunch every time. It's a different bunch sometimes, but always a good, fun bunch. And you get to interact with each other in real time. Oh, and by gum, look, all that hillbilly talk has got me reverting back to talking hillbilly. The tribe has spoken. Before I forget, if you have made it this far, which I doubt very many have, looks like it's raining. Good thing this is an action camera. This weather, I kept saying suppressive on my vlog yesterday, September 1st. Today is September 2nd. I hope I remember to say that every time I vlog this month. Anyway, I wasn't going to commit. I was not going to commit. I wasn't even going to bring it up. I was just going to try to do it. But it slipped out. So here I am on day 2 of 1, because that's all I committed to. I told Chad, I said, look, the least I could do is match you on day 1. I didn't commit to 30 or even 2. But here I am. And since I've already got these fingers up, let's just cut it off right here. And I'm going to say peace. Unless I forgot something. Did I forget something? Oh, Saturday. 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Or no, Central Daylight Time right now. CDT. 1 p.m. CDT. Saturday, whatever the Saturday is going to be on around the middle of the month. I don't have my calendar out. But that's when the next one's going to be. So far, each one of them is running about almost 3 hours. But it might only be, you don't have to stay the whole time. You don't have to get up on camera. You don't even have to get up on microphone. You can either type, you can talk on mic, or you can go on camera, and you can also broadcast it live to your channel. Which is fun. That's how I met a couple of the people that are regulars now, because Cam Brown came into the live and didn't shut it off, and he went off to dinner, and we made some new friends that day, friends of Cam, and we welcome them with open arms. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I'm way more comfortable doing that than I am doing this. I promise you that. Chad rightfully pointed out that that's because there's people to interact with and play off of and stuff. And I think that's accurate. Anyway, I said it before. I'm going to say it again. Peace. We'll see you on the... God, I'm saying all these cliches right now. Just peace. That's it.